Before I said to you that diversity isn't inclusion. Now I'm going to say to you equality is not equity.
What is the significance of providing equal opportunities for career advancement and growth for all employees?
Okay, that's another interesting question, but it's probably worth going there in a slightly circuitous way, if I may. And that's to say that before I said to you that diversity isn't inclusion. Now I'm going to say to you equality is not equity. So equality essentially is treating people the same, but treating people the same might not be fair. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Equity is about treating everybody equally well. So what we're interested in is we're interested in saying, I need to set up an environment where everybody is treated equitably. In other words, we all have equal access, equal opportunity, but it's constructed in a way that's equitable. That's what we're interested in doing, and this is hugely important, because ultimately, what happens is I come into an organization, particularly if I'm coming into an elite occupation. It's one thing for me to get into the organization, but it's quite something else for me to get on. So unless I have a structure and a management structure, and I have supervision and guidance and probably coaching with the organization that can help me, what I might find is that I get into it, but I can't get on in it. Yeah, and the reason I don't get on is because I don't understand the behavioral code. There's like a code to organizations, and I don't understand what it is. And here's the real problem that happens to people that come from underrepresented groups. They think, because this is what they're taught, if I work harder than everybody else, I will succeed, right? So they double down, they double click on their work, and they work longer and longer and longer and longer and longer and longer hours. And they are thinking to themselves, I understand. I've got this right. I'm working about the you said, what are you doing? I'm working. What are you working on? I'm working on the life of my business. And I go, oh, okay. What are you doing about the business of your life? Oh, I'm working. And they're working. Because if I keep working like this, I'm going to get promotion. And then they notice that the person next to them that goes home at 6 o'clock gets promoted. And they're confused. And they're confused because organizations don't reward you on the basis of how hard you work. They pay you for your performance, but they promote you based on your potential. And your potential is measured by a very ambiguous yardstick. It's not about how hard you worked. It's about whether or not you fit, whether you flow, whether you have the other stuff. So the notion of equity and access is important, because if I don't have access to the influencers, to the senior people, to the managers, if I don't get access and equitable access to coaching, to feedback, to delegation, exposure to people, I can work as hard as I like. I'm just going to work hard. I'm not going to go anywhere. I'm just going to be stuck, because it's much more complicated than simply how hard I work. It's much more about how smart I work and how people help me to understand that without things like sponsors and coaches and mentors, you won't succeed in corporate organizations. They're not one. It's not possible to navigate them without them.
Yeah, it's taking me to the pie work that we do. Yeah.
Performance, image, and exposure. It's huge. Yeah. It's huge. And whenever we play that out with young interns, and so they just sit there, they go, what?
Been thinking about this backwards, right?
Yeah, of course. But it's very important. The real issue is exposure in itself is not everything, but without it, you have nothing. So it's, ironically, it's not performance that's the most important. It's performance that's actually, ironically, the least important. Without it, you don't have anything, but it's your sit-down money. Yeah. But your image, how people perceive you, and exposure, the people who are senior to you, how favorably disposed to you they are, those things are key.